I cannot wait to pick your brain because so much has happened, man, the last couple of weeks. I know you've been talking a lot about it, and it's like every day we're getting. It seems like, especially with Brad Holmes, I shouldn't be surprised, but every day it seems like there's a new position that's coming in for an interview, and everyone's like freaking out about it. I want to ask you about the probably the most surprising one to most. What do you think of the idea of a wide receiver in the first round? Because they visited with Matthew Golden, really good player. We all like Matthew Golden. And Russ, who you know very well, he went on Heavyweights, our guys Easy and Spenny, and brought up the idea how people should be probably more open to it because it's more realistic than people think of them drafting wide receiver. Where are you at with that possibility? And then them meeting with Matthew Golden.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as just look at the amount of money that wide receivers are making. The premier receivers that they're, the money they make these days is crazy. So obviously, we shouldn't undersell how valuable receivers are to offenses. The Lions specifically, you add another player to that offense that creates problems for defense. Yeah, I mean, it's an intriguing thing. Golden is an interesting. He's an interesting study. Before he ran at the combine, and I think there's some. It's not conspiratorial or any of that kind of stuff, but I don't know that his time is really. I don't know that he really did run a 4.29. There's some chatter around whether or not he got out of the blocks before they started the timer. Whatever, doesn't matter. He's fast. The thing that stands out is that he to me, he did not look faster than Isaiah Bond did. When you watch those two and you could watch them side by side, it's the same film. Bond always struck me as the faster player, where Golden struck me as the more detailed, nuanced route runner, capable of doing a bunch of different things. When I watch him, I think he and Goff would pair pretty well together, because I do think that he runs really reliable routes. He's very detailed in what he does do, and he's good after the catch. He's all that stuff. But you look at the Texas offense. You look at the couple of years that he had at Houston. He didn't do. It wasn't like he went off in those places. So I think there's. I think there's a little bit of lack at the very, very top of this draft class, which is pushing him a little up, maybe to where he shouldn't be in a normal draft class. But he's a really good player. I do not expect him to be there at 28. So that's the interesting part of it is, if you have a guy in, it says some things. So, I mean, yeah, everybody gets excited about that kind of stuff. But then the secondary part is, what are you doing with Jameson Williams? And the Lions are going to, because they've drafted so well, and because they've put together, they've done some pretty remarkable things. They're going to be stuck with very difficult choices very soon. Are you going to be able to sign Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph? Are you going to be able to do, I'm going to miss a few guys, but it's Hutchinson, it's Jahmyr Gibbs, it's JMO, it's Laporta. It's going to be Branch and Kirby Joseph, Jack Campbell. Those are all I'm missing. I'm sure I'm missing one or two guys, but those are all guys who need a new contract pretty soon. If they're going down the roadway that they may need to part ways with Jameson Williams and add another receiver to the mix just to facilitate that, then yeah, Golden would make some sense if he's there, or if he's there in a little bit of a trade up. Luther Burden would make some sense too. But that's a whole other. I'm not trying to derail the entire thing by talking about JMO, but that's going to be some of the conversation around what the Lions do in the draft over the next couple of years. And sometimes, let's just bring up Kirby Joseph as an example. You might be drafting a safety in, say, round 3 who's going to replace Kirby Joseph because you can't sign him. And it's a bummer because you like those guys. And we all like Kirby Joseph as a player. But are they able to afford all of these premium guys? And I'd say the answer is probably no. Somebody's going to have to somebody's you're going to lose somebody. So,
yeah.
It's just a note for everybody to kind of pay attention to that some of these things, some of what they do is going to be forward thinking in terms of we're not likely to be able to, bring this guy back. We need to replace him kind of stuff. I don't know if that's what you were looking for answer wise, but I like Golden. I think he's a good player. I do not think he's going to be available at 28 though. Not in this class.
Scott, I was telling you what, you're speaking my language. I've been preaching this the last couple of days. Like, there are going to be some decisions to be made in Detroit, whether people like it or not. It's hard. It seems like, and maybe you've seen it a lot too, Scott. It seems like some fans and maybe people who cover the team, it's something that people maybe are ignoring and don't want to address, which it needs to be. The J-Mo, Kirby, Brian Branch, all that stuff needs to be addressed. So
it does. And I'm not saying that those guys are getting moved this year, because you don't you want the window to remain open. It's just, 2 drafts this year, this draft, let's say the 2026 draft, you want to have some options for the players that you might not be bringing back. And you don't want those guys to be rookies. So, it's planning in the future. It might make things weird inside. I mean, if you bring Golden on and you have Golden and J-Mo, and you have, Amon-Ra, and you have all this stuff going on, there's not room for everybody, and there's only one football, but you understand why they might do something like that.
Hey, what's going on there? It's Jeff Iafrate. Appreciate you for finishing the video. You can check out one of the videos here suggested, or show support by commenting, liking, and subscribing. And buy your merchandise, officialctsports.com.